Hi, everybody. I'm Alice K. Reckelhouse from SufferingWell. And I was talking with somebody this morning in the comments about forgiveness. And I thought, this is something that I've been working through. I can't say I'm an expert at it, and I can't say that I've completely succeeded, but I do feel like I've made progress. And so I wanted to jump on here and share with you about that because I know this is something that many people struggle with.
Throughout the rest of the year, we're hoping to share our own stories of dealing with the vices and virtues in the Litany of Virtues part of the How prayer. We'll also have short fictional stories to illustrate some of these. So this is a three-part series within the series. In this particular video, I'm going to share a story that you may have heard from me before, but I want you to hear it in this context. In the other parts, I will share some more practical tips about how you can work on your struggles with resentment and forgiveness.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you some things that I've shared before on this channel, but it's been quite a while and I know some of you are new. But then I'm also going to share some things that I don't think I've ever shared before, including some things that are happening right now where God's working on this issue in my life.
Here's the part of the How prayer that we're specifically working with in this three-part series. Lord, we beseech your divine mercy, implore your restorative forgiveness, and beg your omnipotent grace to repel all our sinful temptations and wicked ways. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. We deplore the wickedness of our resentfulness, O Lord. We aspire to your holy virtue of forgiveness.
So I've had kind of a hard life. um, and have had quite a few things happen. And one of those things was that I was raped when I was a young woman. And um, so during COVID, when we had to wear masks, I wasn't going out very much. I before COVID, I had kind of started becoming a little reclusive, and so it wasn't a huge jump for me to stay home during COVID. And even now, I pretty much just go to church, and I stay at a friend's house when I go to church because church is about half an hour away from where I live, and traveling is kind of hard for me. And I have mobility problems. I don't know if I've shared that before. I got Lyme in 2007, and so I have a hard time walking, and I have a great deal of pain. So traveling for half an hour is difficult. So when I go to church, I actually stay at a friend's house overnight and then into the next day, and that just really helps a lot. I used to have to stop near the church before going on to the church and take like a 15-minute nap before actually going on to mass. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on in my life. So when I started, I became Catholic 4 years ago. And so when I started going to confession, one time I asked my priest about something that had been happening to me. Every time that I put on the mask, which was pretty much just at church, every time I put on the mask, I would have flashbacks to being raped. And I asked him if there was anything that he knew of that could stop that. And he thought for a while, and then he said, "Why don't you check out the story of Maria Goretti?" So I did. And Maria Goretti was an 11-year-old girl who a young man tried to rape her, and she fought him off, and he stabbed her quite a few times, I think more than 10 times. And so she ended up in the hospital. As the surgeon was operating on her, she came out of her anesthesia, and the anesthesiologist, I think he was called a pharmacist, he told her, "Maria, when you go to heaven, please remember me." And she said, "Well, we don't know which one of us will go to heaven first." And he said, "You will, Maria, you will." She made it through the surgery, and her priest came to see her. And on her deathbed, she said, "I forgive him." Speaking of the rapist, "I forgive him, and I want him to be in heaven with me." That's kind of the key to me is not just forgiving, but wanting that person, number one, to be in heaven, number two, to be in heaven with me. Okay, so I asked Maria Goretti one of the first times that I prayed to a saint, and I said, "Can you help me with this?" And I don't know, I still don't exactly know how that works. I don't know if she gave me this idea or if she prayed and God gave me this idea or what, but the idea came into my mind almost immediately. Every time I put on the mask, to say to my rapist, in my mind, obviously he wasn't there, but to say, "I forgive you and I want to see you in heaven." So I started doing that. And I have to tell you, at first, I really couldn't say that I meant it, but I said it and I asked God to help me to mean it. And every time that I did that, the flashbacks went away. Sometimes they would come back again, like sometimes immediately, sometimes in a few minutes, but I would get some relief. And it seemed like the more that I did it, the more that was pushing that away. And I think that what it was that as I was forgiving him, that didn't hold any power over me anymore. Satan couldn't use that against me. It took quite a while. It took quite a while before they finally completely went away. And at that point, I realized I really have sincerely forgiven this man for what he did. And it was a lot more than rape. Um, and I really haven't had that come back for that particular person.